Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we're talking about game number 1 between the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes, where New York takes game number 1, goes up on the board 1, takes the series up by 1, and they lead 1-0 against the Canes. And this is an interesting game, because at the first period, I would say, yes, this is a very good game for the Rangers. And on the other hand, I also would say this was a okay game for the Hurricanes, but they did shoot themselves in the foot. So let me talk about it here. So good game overall, but for me, the Canes, they really did screw up in that first period. And I know, like, I hate when ESPN especially, because I can't stand, like, I love PK Subban, I really do. I love PK Subban. But for something about whatever Frank Levi, whatever the hell his name is, I can't stand that guy. And Mark Messier is so old, is from such a different generation of hockey. Like, those guys talking about how, like, oh, you could have asked anyone, like, that New York power play. Like, you don't want to give up anything, right? Like, you don't want to give that to them. Sure, whatever, right? Like, any power play you want to say is dangerous is whatever, right? Especially if it is New York or Edmonton's. But the thing about it, too, is just because you give a team a power play doesn't mean you have to give up, right? And the Carolina Hurricanes, I don't know if it's a fact that they've just, I don't know. I don't know if it was just the first period, so they just weren't warmed up to playing defense or what, but that New York, those 2 power plays that they gave up and those goals, those 2 that they gave up, between 9 and 14 seconds in the power plays. They only combined for 23 seconds of power play time, and they scored 2 goals in that span. That is nuts for the Rangers. And they were sick goals. Absolutely. I mean, so first of all, Mika Zibanejad gets the first goal of the game. It was a pretty nice one. But then his power play goal, even nicer by, I think it was Kreider up front. It was just a Gustafsson, right? Gustafsson gets it, turn, backhand pass, back pass to Kreider, backhand pass to Zibanejad. It was just over and over again. Just back to guys, right? But then the third power play goal, the one that happened, a couple minutes later from that one, Vincent Trocheck, same thing, gets the pass over to Zibanejad, one times it, Zibanejad gets the puck over, Trocheck just buries it in the back of the net, power play goal, right? Just 3 goals in the first period. Of course, Jacob Slavin got that wonky goal, off of Lafreniere, which was just a crazy bounce, and a perfect bounce too. I don't know how many people that watch hockey have played hockey, but being a former, I get some bounces, right? And a bounce like that, for that puck to be shot and to perfectly bounce off the stick, off the ice, and then not just go crazy or just hit the ice flat and go nowhere, but instead do bounce perfectly in that little 6 inches of space for the puck to go in over Shesterkin's shoulder is crazy. But the first period ends 3-1, and the Canes really did shoot themselves in the foot, right? Zibanejad was hot as hell, couldn't be stopped. He just kept fighting. That was the whole game. Zibanejad was on fire this whole game. He put his heart and soul on the ice, put everything. He grinded for pucks. He grinded for goals. This is the Zibanejad that we needed to see. And the first round, we didn't really see that from him. This game, we saw Zibanejad and what he needs to keep going forward, which I'm going to get to later on in this video. But for me, that first period, not horrible for the Hurricanes, right? Because when it was 5-on-5, it was close, right? It was definitely not the Rangers dominating 3-1. They just gave up 2 bad. Also, before I get anywhere else, the Tony DeAngelo penalty, the first one to be called, ridiculous. That was a ridiculous penalty. I don't understand it. I do not understand, and I hate, and this is where I get, because I like the New York Rangers. I grew up loving them. But the fans in New York, who when they show the replay and they go crazy over the hit as if it was the dirtiest thing they've ever seen when they have Matt Rempe on their team, is ridiculous. It was not that bad of a hit. It wasn't dirty. It's a hockey play. Sure, potentially tripping if you really wanted to be stingy about it just because his leg hit the other guy's leg, but it's a hockey play. Hockey's fast. It's just the way, he didn't purposefully get his leg out to trip him, right? He was going in for the hit, and when you play hockey, your legs squat, and you squat down, and you got to get those knees bent, and his knee is just what's leading in, and the guy's other leg is out here like this, so it just happens to be what he runs into first. So, like, the call was ridiculous, and then they score on it, so that's whatever. But yeah, the first period, very tight when it's 5-on-5, and that was the continuous of this game. Because in the second period, very close, very similar play. No goals scored, as I don't think there was a. Oh, the only power plays given were 5 power plays to the Carolina Hurricanes. They scored on none of them. Carolina's power play, because New York, right? They really only scored when they were given that power play, right? Those 2 goals to get them fired up were on the power play, and that was it. That's where they got those goals from. Of course, the Zibanejad and Panarin goal weren't on the power play, but you get what I mean. Like, those true, like, big goals on the power play. Carolina could have done the same. 3 goals, no power play, right? 3 goals. If they could have scored on just one of those 5, right? One of those 5, they could have been 4-3. 4-4, I mean. Easily. If they could have done what New York did, right? They could have been 5-4. Won the game, right? It's a difference maker there. Where New York pounced on those opportunities, right? They demolished those chances. 2 for 2 on the power play, right? Carolina, nothing. They got nothing. And they were trying, right? And New York wasn't just like all over them or anything, right? They just couldn't really get like those true big chances to happen. That's what scares me about Carolina, is that they don't have those Kachucks and Bennett's and Verheyes where they can shoot it at the net and it's just like, okay, go time, and then just crash the net, just jam their stick in there and try to get a goal. They just are missing those guys like Kachuk who win those net front battles. Those Bennett's, the Verheyes, the Barkovs, right? They just don't have those guys on this team. And of course, later on they do score a goal like that with Jarvis, but that's just one goal, right? Look at what Zibanejad and Trocheck did on the power play, or the rest of the New York Rangers, right? Back to door, Trocheck gets the burying rebound in front, right? It's just those difference makers where Carolina they couldn't escape their own fate, right? They gave up those two power plays, and then they were handed power plays, 5 of them, and they couldn't seal the deal. And it scares me, and it really does scare me, because they're that close to getting in the door, right? Because the rest of the game, it was tied. If you get rid of all the power plays in this game is 2-3, right? It's the power play difference. The special teams are going to be a huge deal in this series. Because the Carolina Hurricanes, they cannot allow this series to where they give up, let's just say a conservative, right? A conservative 2 penalties a game, which is not going to happen. But even if they did that, and they continue into the pace they give, they're going to give up 2 goals a game automatically to the Rangers. They have to fix that special teams, that penalty kill, right? And we know they can. They're one of the best teams in the penalty kill this season. We know they have that in them, right? So for me, Carolina, they need to finish those special teams aspects of the games, right? But there is a catch to this win, though, because the New York Rangers, they did battle hard, and they did even up the game, but when it came to 5-on-5 play, the Hurricanes, as much as it was even, the Hurricanes did win 5-on-5. And not just one. They did score those better goals. They did get those lucky bounces. They scored those grinding goals that you need to score in the playoffs, right? They got those Florida Panther goals, right? The New York Rangers were boosted. Their first 3 goals were all because Zibanejad scored 2 of them and Vincent Trocheck off of Zibanejad assist, right? Zibanejad was in the right space at the right time for all 3 of those, right? Regardless of the way you want to see them, whether if it was like, oh, Kreider's amazing backdoor pass, right? But Zibanejad needed to be there, right? You want to say Zibanejad's both of his backdoor goals, right? Sure. Like, you want to make that claim, well, not backdoor, but you know what I mean, that one-timer setup there, right? Sure. You want to, like, make that claim of, like, oh, the other guy had to pass it and stuff, but Zibanejad had to be on fire to get those goals to happen, right? And Anderson seemed a little bit off tonight as well. Plus, Panarin's goal was a bit of a sad one. That was definitely a deflator because, it was just a simple skate down the ice, just shoot it, and Anderson just gave up the goal. Like, that was the Forgiev kind of move, right? Just kind of giving up that weak goal that really needs to make that save. So, that was a bad one. But overall, Zibanejad really powered them through. Carolina, it continues. A flurry of different offenses from Jarvis, from Natchez, from Slavin, right? Different guys putting up points on the board, grindy goals, those lucky bounces, getting those goals happening. Natchez had a couple of really good chances. He was fighting. Aho had some good plays out there, right? Gensel as well. Like, they had the guys buzzing, especially 5-on-5. The issue was the power plays that they gave up and what New York was able to produce. And that's where I'm scared. Because this game was, regardless of how you want to see it, was a Panarin, just a bad goal by Anderson, and then 3 goals, all assisted by Zibanejad being in the right place at the right time, right? All 3 of them. It might as well be sponsored by, like, Energizer, right? It was powered by Zibanejad, the way I want to see it, right? So, to me, this scares me if this is to repeat, because it is unlikely. Because this game was powered by one guy in the Rangers, and the Hurricanes did fight well 5-on-5. And it is most likely, I would say, that after such a successful power play against the Islanders and the regular season, that it continues to be this 0-5 kind of play. I think this was just kind of first game jitters, especially in Madison Square Garden. I think the Hurricanes will bounce back and have a change of pace, and I think things will be different next game. We'll continue, and they will fight harder next game. For me, can I say the same thing about the Rangers in their style of play? Can Zibanejad recreate his three-point night? Unlikely. Can someone else do it? Potentially. Trocheck has been on fire this playoffs. Panarin looked good this game, right? But is it going to... It is possible for the Rangers to repeat the way they played. But the rest of the team, they didn't have those grindy plays, right? They weren't getting those net front battles. They weren't winning like all those like 5-on-5 plays that the Hurricanes did win. And that's what you need in the playoffs. And that's what scares me for the Rangers. So going forward, right now I am concerned for both teams. And I don't know what to see because we only have one sample size of one game. And I'm really interested to see what happens going from here. Because right now, the way I see it, it was one bad period by the Hurricanes. And after, like, think about it again. 3 goals from the first period. 2 from the power play, all powered by Zibanejad, right? Other than that, no goals in periods 2 and 3. And only one goal in 2 and 3. And the one goal was a bad fluke by Anderson, right? That's what worries me for New York. So for me, I am a little bit pessimistic about New York just because mainly they kind of annoyed me tonight. And, yeah, so right now I don't know where the series go. I'm leaning still towards Carolina to bounce back from this one, and I think they might, but we'll have to see next game. So that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. If you made it this far, please, I'm begging you, please subscribe. Please. If you do anything today, just subscribe to me. Please. And thank you for watching this. Too sweet. Have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.